And tonight, I ask you not to view me as an advocate, blindly speaking on issues of which I know nothing about. Tonight, I come to you as a young man who has personally braved the trenches and has seen firsthand how poverty is shaking the foundations of this nation. I've seen drugs, prostitution, gangs, and violence all destroy my community. I know that poverty not only affects the larger cities in America, but as a native of Omaha, Nebraska, I know that poverty is in every corner of this nation. Mentoring gave me hope and has personally freed me from the restraints of poverty. My story serves as a true testament to the ideals of America. Now let me give you a glimpse into my America. In my America, they tell us about how poorly we perform on standardized tests. But in my America, there is a child on the south side of Chicago who cannot concentrate on his standardized tests because he hasn't eaten in 2 days. In my America, there is a little girl who has hope for health care. She hopes that she never gets sick because her parents can't afford to pay for adequate health care. In my America, there is a young man from Baltimore who graduated from a subpar school system and can't even read every single word on his own diploma. The revolutionary naturalist Charles Darwin once stated, "If the misery of the poor is caused not by the laws of nature, but by our own institutions, then great is our sin." Our forefathers founded this nation upon the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yet 37 million Americans are expected to make that pursuit while crippled by the plague of poverty. Our society is based on the idea that all Americans, regardless of your ethnic background, your racial background, or your economic background, you have the ability still to dream the American dream and to make that dream into something real. But for many Americans, it is very hard to dream when you're too hungry to sleep at night. We live in the most prosperous nation in the history of the world. Yet somehow we find ourselves with the highest poverty rates of any developed nation. And now it's important that you understand this. We have spent $500 billion on the war in Iraq, while the United Nations estimates that for only 1/10 of that, we could provide clean water, adequate diets, sanitation services, and basic education not only to every American, but to every human being on earth. If half of the money spent on studying the poor were used to free the poor from the strongholds of poverty, maybe there would be no poor. I challenge the presidential candidates not to forget the war on terrorism abroad, but to remember the war on poverty at home. I challenge the presidential candidates to ensure that every single child in this country that needs a mentor is given one. I challenge the candidates to make sure that every child in America is given a fighting chance to prosper in adequate school systems, and just not the children whose parents can afford to pay for it. Foremost, I challenge the candidates to challenge themselves and remember the equality and justice that our forefathers dreamed of. You have all demonstrated by your presence tonight that we will not rest, nor will we be content until my America becomes a better America. It is clear that generations before us got it wrong. Now it is up to us to go back to our communities and create change. We all have the ability within to make a profound difference within our lifetimes. So I ask you to help me make my America a better America. Thank you.
Graduate.